There are moments in Coronation Street when silence feels more dangerous than shouting. And tonight's episode looks set to be exactly that kind of nerve-wracking watch, as Todd Grimshaw's situation with Theo Silverton grows even more alarming. Sarah Platt senses that something is badly wrong, and instead of standing back, she decides to take a risk. The second Theo leaves the flat, she makes her move and slips inside to speak to Todd over a cup of tea. On the surface, it is a small, ordinary moment, but that is exactly what makes it so tense. Sarah is trying to create a space where Todd can finally feel safe enough to speak, even if only for a few minutes. Her actions show how worried she has become, especially as Todd has been ignoring George's messages about selling the business. That silence clearly makes Sarah suspect Theo has far more control over Todd's life than anyone wants to admit. Todd's behavior says even more. When Sarah arrives, he quickly blocks the CCTV camera with his body and quietly signals for her to come in, which shows that part of him does want help. But when the moment comes, he still cannot bring himself to tell her the truth about the abuse. That hesitation feels painfully realistic. People trapped in controlling relationships often become so used to fear that even when help is right in front of them, speaking up still feels impossible. Todd is not just frightened of Theo. He seems emotionally conditioned to think that any wrong move could make things even worse. The scene becomes even more unsettling when Theo returns unexpectedly. Todd immediately tells Sarah to hide in the bedroom, which shows how quickly panic takes over. What is most disturbing is that Theo does not need to catch them in the act to know something is wrong. 2 cups of tea are enough to make him suspicious, and that detail says a lot about the kind of environment Todd is living in. Theo is watching everything, reading every clue, and keeping Todd in a state where even the smallest mistake can carry consequences. His reaction afterwards is arguably even colder than open violence. Theo tells Todd that he will do nothing to punish him, at least not yet, and that kind of threat is chilling precisely because it is so controlled. It suggests someone who enjoys keeping power through uncertainty. Rather than exploding immediately, Theo leaves Todd waiting, fearing what may come next. That kind of psychological pressure can be just as damaging as physical harm, and the "for now" hanging over the situation makes it clear that Todd is still completely trapped in Theo's grip. The upcoming spoilers make it even darker, with Todd reportedly suffering a brutal physical attack that leaves him badly injured. But for the first time, there is also a real sign that the story may be shifting. Todd finally reaches the point where he reports Theo to the police, exposing the abuse he has endured for months. That decision feels like the result of everything building at once: fear, exhaustion, isolation, and the growing realization that staying silent may be more dangerous than speaking out. At the same time, Summer's suspicions intensify, and her confrontation with Theo adds another layer of chaos. Once she learns that Theo and Todd are supposedly planning to move to Belfast, the alarm bells only get louder. Her later accusation that Theo may be linked to Billy's death shows just how toxic and sinister Theo now appears to those around him. Even if that claim turns out to be misguided, it reflects how much fear and distrust he has generated. What stands out most is that Todd's escape may only happen because Theo briefly lets his guard down. That detail suggests Todd is still not fully in control of his own freedom, which makes his eventual decision to report Theo even more significant. It is not framed as a sudden act of strength out of nowhere, but as the desperate final step of someone who has been pushed beyond his limit. Sarah also continues putting herself in danger by trying to recover key evidence from Theo's van, proving that she is no longer willing to sit back and hope Todd saves himself alone. With George and Summer also searching for him, the story starts to shift from Todd suffering in silence to the people around him finally seeing the truth. That may be the breakthrough he needs, but it does not mean the damage disappears overnight. Even once Theo's violence is exposed and he runs, Todd's breakdown at home makes it clear that escape is only the beginning. The physical danger may start to lift, but the emotional aftermath is likely to stay with him for a long time. That is what could make the next stage of this storyline so powerful. It is no longer only about whether Todd gets away, but whether he can rebuild himself after being worn down for so long. If the show handles it carefully, Todd's report to the police could become the turning point viewers have been waiting for, while Theo's downfall may finally begin. But with Theo fleeing and so much trauma already inflicted, this story still feels far from over.